Hey guys, Skylimit Heights here, and welcome back to another Scratch video. Today, we're going to be making a laser maze game similar to the board game version many of you might have played before, in which you try to guide a laser that comes out of a laser pointer into a goal using mirrors while there's obstacles in the way to try to prevent you from doing so. We're going to be applying some physics concepts, particularly reflection, along with pen to make this project. Alright, let's get into it. I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of the game. As you can see, we have a workspace here, a start button, and 4 different items that we can drag onto the workspace. Now this laser is the start point, and it's where the laser will shoot out from. And this receiver is what's going to catch the laser, and it's going to be our end goal. So the point of the game is we're trying to get the laser, which shoots out from the start point, into the receiver. I'm going to drag one here, and the receiver right here. So as you can see, if we just press start right now, the laser is going to shoot out and go straight into the receiver. Well, that's no fun, so we can make it a bit harder by putting these walls in. And when the laser hits the wall, or when it hits the edge, it'll stop and we will lose. So we have to somehow guide this laser around the walls into the receiver. And we can do that with these mirrors. I'm going to put a mirror right here to guide the laser downward. So upon impact, the laser will hit the mirror at an angle right here, and then it's going to get redirected downward. And we're going to have to put another one right here, and one more, trying to make this perpendicular right here. And finally, it's going to travel upward, and we need one more to guide it into the goal. Once we're ready, we can press start and see what happens. Nice. Okay, so we managed to get the laser into the goal. You can tinker around with this and make your own levels and drag different configurations to make the level harder, easier, or more interesting. Alright, let's jump into the video. So as you can see, I made some sprites beforehand to save time, and this includes the 5 buttons, the objects, the background, and the laser pointer. I'll be linking this starter kit in the description, so you guys can go ahead and use that. But if you're up for the challenge, you can also try creating your own sprites. So let's first look in the buttons. I added a when green flag clicked event here just to make it go to its original position. And also for the objects, since we don't want them showing up at the beginning of the game because we want the players to drag them in, I just hid them at the beginning. So for laser receiver, laser start, mirror, and wall, they're all hidden at the beginning. Also, as you can see, I set the size of the mirror to 80% and the size of the wall to 60% because I felt that they were a little too big, so I just made that minor adjustment. Okay, so the first part of this project is being able to drag the objects into the workspace. Let's go ahead and go to button laser and add a when this sprite clicked to our script, and then add a broadcast message. We're going to broadcast a message called spawn laser because we want that to be able to tell the laser object that it needs to be spawned in. Now let's go ahead and go to laser start and drag in when I receive spawn laser to catch the message. And then we're going to initialize a direction for this sprite. I just made it 90 degrees here. And also we're going to show the sprite because we hit it at the beginning. And switch the costume to arrow. There's 2 versions of this costume. One has an arrow and one doesn't. And the arrow one is just to help players guide or see what direction the laser will go into. Now we have to have a repeat until block. So when the player drags, clicks on this button and drags it into a place, we want to repeat until they stop clicking, so not mouse down. And while while their mouse is down, so before this loop breaks, we want the object to go to the mouse pointer. So it'll keep following the mouse pointer until they let go of the left mouse button, and then it'll drop right there. Now let's go ahead and test this. And as you can see, I can drag this in, and if I let go, it will stop. We have to do the same thing for the button receiver. So when the sprite is clicked, broadcast a new message, spawn receiver, and go to the receiver. And quick tip, we can actually just like clone this block, and if you want to copy code into another sprite, just drag this into here and it should copy. Let's change this to spawn receiver and also get rid of the costume because we have no other costume for the receiver. Now let's try this. And as you can see, I can drag the laser and the receiver into the workspace. The final two buttons are a bit different from the laser and receiver because for the mirror and wall, we actually have to make a clone. The button, the laser and the receiver, there's only one version, but the mirror and the wall can be dragged into the workspace infinite times or as many times as the player wants. So instead of a message, we have to create a clone. Let's drag it when this sprite clicked, and then create a clone of, so this is the mirror. So we'll create a clone of the mirror, and inside the mirror, we have to catch that. Let's go ahead and drag when I start as a clone, and also initialize the direction, as well as show the sprite. Similar to the laser, this also has an arrow. So let's switch the costume. Oh, that's not switch costume. This is switch costume. Switch costume to arrow. Finally, we need our repeat until block. And then the not. Mouse down. Go to mouse pointer. So this should work now. Let's drag this in. And as you can see, I can drag it in, and I can drag multiple versions in simultaneously. Let's do the same for the wall. And again, we can kind of copy this code in here. Change this to wall. And then we can also copy this in here and get rid of the arrow because this one does not have any direction. Okay, let's test this. So I can drag a laser, a receiver, as many mirrors as I want, and as many walls as I want as well. Great, now we have this, we can move on to rotation. So I'm going to go into the laser start sprite, and then I'm going to copy this when I receive message or spawn laser. And I'm going to do something similar to here, repeat until not mouse down, and use two if statements to detect key presses. So when the player drags the object into the workspace, we want them to be able to rotate the object with Q and E, corresponding to rotating left or rotating right. Let's go to sensing, drag key pressed, and change this to Q. And we'll do the same thing for E as well. When they press Q, we should make the object rotate left. So turn counterclockwise 5 degrees. I think 5 is a reasonable interval. Of course, you guys can change that to whatever you want. And for E, we'll make it turn right. Now let's test this. So if I drag a laser in and I press Q, you can see it rotate to the left. If I press E, it rotates to the right. Right now, I think it's rotating a bit too fast. So to make some delay, we can add a wait block at the end of the loop. I'll set this to around 0.035 and see what happens. So now you can see it's slightly slower, so the player can have more control of the rotation. And we have to do the same thing for the laser receiver and the other two objects. So I'm going to copy this code in here and change this to spawn receiver because this is a receiver now. Let's try this. So laser I can rotate, receiver I can rotate as well. That's nice, but we also have to be able to rotate the mirror and the wall. And for these ones, we can use the same code, except now we need this header when I start as a clone, because we're not receiving a message anymore. And same thing for the wall. So I can just drag this in, and this code should not change because it's also a clone. Let's go ahead and try this. So laser, receiver, wall I can rotate, and mirror I can rotate as well. Cool. Now we have all of these things ready. We can actually start coding the laser physics. We first have to import the pen module, because that's how we're going to be drawing the laser. To do that, go into the bottom left of your screen, click this purple button with the plus, and select pen. Now that we have the pen functionalities, we can start doing the simulation. So let's first go into the start script, or the start sprite, and then when this button is clicked, we want to broadcast a message. And I'm going to name this message start simulation. What this is going to do is basically send a message to the laser pointer to start moving. Now this laser pointer has to catch this message, and here's where we use pen. First, we're going to go ahead and erase all in both the start of the simulation and when we start the game. And then we want the laser pointer to go to the laser start, which is where it's going to start, and also point the same direction as the laser start script, or the sprite. So laser start and direction. Also, we want the pen to be up when the green flag is clicked, so that it doesn't leave a streak when it goes to 1000, 1000. And we also want the laser pointer to go to the front layer when the simulation starts, because we want it to overlap on top of mirrors and walls rather than under it. Now we can go ahead and initialize our pen. So I'm going to set this to red, although this color you can change, and also make the pen go down, and also set the pen size to a thicker amount, maybe like 5. Now we want the laser pointer to start moving. So drag a repeat until block, and then 2 OR blocks embedded within each other, because we want the laser pointer to continuously move until it either touches a wall, an edge, or a laser receiver. So touching edge, wall, or laser receiver. While it's not touching any of those, we want it to continuously move. So move 3 steps. Now let's go ahead and test what happens. So I'll drag a laser and press start. As you can see, the laser started moving, but obviously it started from the center, which is what we don't want, so we want it to start from the emitter. To fix that, we can make it simply move a bit in front when it goes to the laser start, and what that's going to do is make the laser pointer move toward the tip. Let's go ahead and try that. And as you can see, it worked. Now we want to quickly get rid of these arrows, because this is just for the guiding, for like guiding lines for the player, and we want to get rid of this. So to do that, let's go ahead and go to laser start and drag in when I receive start simulation, switch costume to final, and final is the costume without the arrow. We want to do the same thing for the mirror as well. So when I receive start simulation, switch costume to final. Let's go ahead and test this. And I'm going to drag a mirror in as well. And when you press start, it should make all the arrows disappear, and when it touches the edge, you can see it stops. But we want mirrors to be able to reflect the laser, and that's what we're going to be doing next. So this is where things get a little bit complicated, although just bear with me here. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the mirror detect a touched event from the laser pointer, and then when it detects that, it'll change the direction of the laser pointer. So in Scratch, you can't change the direction of another sprite, so what we're going to do is create a variable to keep track of the direction of the laser, so that the mirror can change that, and the laser pointer can change its own direction according to this variable. So create a new variable called laser direction, and go into the laser pointer and set the laser direction to the original direction at the beginning. Also, we want the laser pointer to continuously update its own direction. So it's going to point in the direction of the laser direction. And I'm just going to hide this. So now we can go ahead and implement the reflection. You can do this in whatever block you want out of these two. So I'm going to go ahead and do it in this block right here. So under this block, I'm going to drag a forever block and then drag an if block. So if it's touching the laser pointer, we want it to reflect. The way we reflect is we set the laser direction to a new value, or the reflected value, and this reflected value is going to be the same as the let me just draw it here. So when we have a mirror here and we have a laser pointer coming in like this, we want the angle to come out. We want the angle to come out something like this. As you can observe, this line, this yellow line here, is perpendicular to the mirror's direction. And this is actually just the same direction that the mirror is pointing in because we defined the direction to be the perpendicular direction. And we want these two angles, so this one right here and this one right here, let's call this A and B. So we want A equal to B. And when the laser comes in through here and it exits it out through here, the appropriate equation is actually just this. So let's go back and go to the script, and I'm going to delete this. Let's go to the script and set the laser direction. Oh, I'm just going to use this. Set the laser direction to plus, and then inside the first one we want to put a minus, and then over here we're going to put laser direction, and then a multiplication. Inside the multiplication we're going to put another plus, and actually we actually need a minus first. So minus and then a plus in the first slot. I'm going to zoom in a little so you guys can see better. So as you can see, a minus, multiply, plus, minus. Over here we're going to put 180, or actually no, here we're going to put 180. Here we're going to actually put the direction of the mirror. And over here we're going to put the laser direction. And over here we're going to put 2. And finally here we're going to put another 180. So I'm not going to go too in depth with why this is the case, why the new direction is this complex equation, but if you guys want an explanation, I can leave one in the comments. So I'm going to set this to set the laser direction to this thing, and now when it touches the laser pointer, it should reflect the laser. But we don't want the direction to keep changing because this touch is going to fire many times. So we want to add a slight delay so the laser doesn't get reflected like 10 times. And I'm going to make the delay like 0.75. Now if we test this, we can go ahead and put a laser and a mirror and press start. And as you can see, it bounces right back. And we can actually try this with different angles. So I'll drag a mirror and make it like this. And that should reflect it upward a little. Yep, as you can see, it reflects upward. And if you notice, the perpendicular line here and these two angles A and B are equal. The last thing we need to do is make this background work, because once the player gets the laser into the receiver, we want them to see this screen, and when they get it out of bounds, meaning they either hit a wall or hit the edge, we want to display this screen. So to do that, let's go and go to laser pointer and go to code. Under here, once the laser is stopped, we want to see if they either won or lost. So if touching laser receiver, we want to broadcast an event. Let's call this win. And if they're touching anything else, so we can actually just make this an if else block. If else, if they're touching laser receiver, broadcast win. If they're touching anything else, we can broadcast something like lose. So now we can go to the background and catch these events. So when I receive win, switch costume to win. When I receive lose, switch costume to out of bounds. Let's go ahead and try our finished product. So if I put a laser and a receiver here, and maybe, well, let's not put a mirror. I'm gonna put a wall here and put a mirror, something like this, and put another mirror, and put one more mirror, and put one more mirror, and try this. You can see the laser comes in, bounces. Oh, that's a little off, and I lost because I didn't get it into the receiver. Let's just try that again. I'm kind of bad at this game, so I'm just gonna make it go straight in. And as you can see, it goes, and when it goes in, it says good job. Well, the good job screen is kind of clipping into the laser receiver, so I'm just gonna make this go to the front. Go to looks and go to front layer. Maybe over here, or not here, over here, and go to front. So let's try that again. And as you can see, when it goes in, it says good job. Alright, that's it for our game. And you guys can go ahead and add extra features if you want, such as deleting. Like if you accidentally drag the mirror here, maybe there could be a delete button that deletes this mirror. And maybe even allowing players to make their own levels. Like if they want to make a level, such as this one, and save this level, you can add like some save code and compress this level into a string, and they can paste it again and load their level. Also, it'd be a good idea to add something like restarting a level if they accidentally messed up solving the puzzle. They can restart and try again. Okay, so that wraps up our video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave one down below. I'll be linking this project in the description, along with an extended version that has a lot of extra features, and you guys can go ahead and check that out and tinker with it and make it your own. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!